Just want to give you some more updates as to what is happening at the moment. Just when we all thought that Hezbollah is over, we have some news to suggest that is not happening at all. In fact, they are gaining strength and slowly but surely momentum. We'll be talking about that in light of what this individual, his name is Ali Akbar Ahmadian, he said about the resistance forces and the axis of resistance as a whole in this video more in details. But before I move on, just to remind you guys, most of my viewers are not subscribed. If you're one of them, consider subscribing. Let's take a look at this. He's the security chief of Iran, of the Supreme Council, and IRNA, Iranian news agency, they have published this story, what he said when he was meeting with the Omanian counterpart. Not counterpart, I think it was Omanian head of state, not the counterpart. He basically told him that during that meeting, not him directly but also to the press, that look, what is happening right now in Lebanon, do not think that we were weakened. The resistance forces, they are not weakened. In fact, he said directly, a new form of resistance has just been born. That's what he said. It is being born. We'll talk about that resistance force in a second. But Ali Akbar Ahmadian, his statement is very, very important because he has a link with IRGC and also with the Iranian government directly, because after all, he is the security chief. Now, why I mention his position with IRGC matter is because IRGC is the body of the Iranian military that decides if it wants to wage a war against a nation, in this case obviously Israel. They are the one who have the say. They are the one who will decide. They are the one who will be launching attacks, going forth with their plans, implementing, executing those, launch those attacks on Israel and launch those ballistic missiles or hypersonic missiles. Who knows what Iran will do next. This is the new resistance form that they're talking about. Now, what I understand from this is this. Because of the situation in Syria has changed after December 8th when Assad was overthrown, what I understand is there are two scenarios right now. Number one scenario is that Iran will be asking those factions by the Alawite sect in Syria to join Lebanon Hezbollah. That's one scenario. So Hezbollah and the Alawite or the Shia section of Syria will collaborate, will work together to stop Israel. That's one scenario, and that is to me looks like more likely. The scenario number two is the Syrian government itself, maybe not as a whole, but part of the government, part of its agencies will be collaborating directly with Hezbollah, forcing Israel to retreat from Golan Heights. I will actually mention about the Golan Heights in a second. There is a good possibility that the Syrian government itself or part of it will be working with Hezbollah to expel Israel from Golan Heights and from territories in Lebanon and force them to come to a ceasefire that will have Hezbollah's terms and conditions being dictated. Most part. That's what I understand. So scenario one, the Alawite section, the Shia section, part of Syria will join Hezbollah. Scenario number two, it could be Syria altogether or part of the government will work with Hezbollah against Israel. This is what most likely he's referring to, the first one, that when he said a new resistance was born, I believe that's what he was referring, that part of Shia, the Alawites, or maybe even Assad's, but I don't think Assad's army will be willing to take up a weapon against Israel. These are lazy and they just ran away when the rebel took over. Now, this person, Ali Akbar Ahmadian, this Iran's security chief, has two issues with Israel at the moment. Number one is Israel's presence in Golan Heights. The UN Secretary General, he already said, Guterres, that this is a violation of the armistice agreement they have with Israel between Syria and Israel, and therefore he condemned the occupation. He condemned the presence of the Israeli forces in Golan Heights. So Ali Akbar Ahmadian, he said, this was a big violation and we are not going to keep it quiet. So he said, most likely in that context, and Iran took some other things developing at the moment into context before they decided we will be forming a new resistance forces, which he said is going to be emerging very, very soon. The other problem or other thing is he mentioned, Ali Akbar Ahmadian, the Iran's security chief, is this. The nuclear weapon doctrine, he said, was not changed. And he said Iran has the right to develop a nuclear weapon and they will if they are forced to. In other words, his worry is that if we do not push or take the war or battle to the Zionist doorsteps, then Zionists and US will come to us. Our nuclear sites and positions will be bombed by them. Therefore, we have to keep Israel always busy on their foot in order to keep them occupied and distract them from our nuclear programs. That is what I understand from his statement, which I will show you in a second. Then you can make your own conclusion too. Now, here is Abbas Araghchi. He is the foreign minister, I believe, of Iran, and he said this. We have been very, very lenient with this whole nuclear program conditions set by IAEA and US and all that in the Western countries, but we are frustrated right now. Why Iran is frustrated? Because even though talks have developed in the past and they reached to some kind of conclusion, some kind of deal, nevertheless, he said, Abbas Araghchi, he said that we did not see lifting of sanctions from Iran. Means we are still in the same position where we were in 2015 or prior to that when the JCPOA was signed. Nothing has improved. Nothing has been done for Iran. On the other hand, Iran is doing all the concessions in order to show to the whole world that they are not pursuing nuclear weapon. That's what he said. So he's basically his country and his government, the Iranian government, even though we know that Masoud Pezeshkian, the Iranian president, he's very, very lenient. He wants to have a good relationship with the West. Nevertheless, now looks like Iran is becoming more and more frustrated and waking up to this reality slowly but surely that these all talks about lifting sanctions are fake news. Now, I want to actually show you the actual article so that, as I said, you can see for yourself what this person is talking about. So, Iran's security chief says new resistance against Israel to emerge in Syria. So, he's talking about Syria. Remember, he's not saying a new resistance is coming or emerging in Lebanon or anywhere else. He pinpointed it is going to be in Syria. So, Iran is definitely working on something in Syria. Few days ago, we have seen a protest of the Alawite sect coming out, protesting against the Syrian government. Does it have to do with Iran? Anything with Iran? I don't know. Possible. But looks like so far we are seeing, overall, a lot of stability. Think about this. The new government is formed and we are not really seeing fighting breaking out every single day. Yeah, protests going on. It happens all the time. So I have a good feeling that the Syrian government is going to leave alone this Shia sect who will be wanting to join Hezbollah to fight against Israel. And quite honestly, why Syria would have any problem if that happens? Because Syria's territorial integrity is at risk at the moment from Israel. So this is what is happening. Iran security chief Ali Akbar Ahmadian said a new group would emerge in Syria to fight Israel following the fall of President Assad, state media reported. With the occupation of Syrian territories by the Zionist regime, a new resistance has been born that will manifest itself in the years to come, said Ahmadian, the secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council in a news agency reported late Monday. In a meeting with Oman's foreign minister, Ahmadian insisted that Iran's anti-Israel axis of resistance was not weakened after the December 8 fall of Bashar al-Assad. Al-Assad fled Syria after opposition forces led by Hayat Tahrir Sham seized the capital Damascus after a lightning offensive. Since his fall, Israel has carried out hundreds of airstrikes on Syrian military facilities, saying it aimed to prevent them from falling into the hostile hands. Israeli troops also occupied strategic position in a UN patrolled buffer zone between Syria and Israeli annexed Golan Heights, which it seized in 1967 Arab-Israeli war. The move was described by UN Chief Antonio Guterres as a breach of the 74 armistice between the two countries. Iran has since condemned Israel's seizure of the land in Syria. Tehran's allies in the region, including Hamas in Gaza and Hezbollah in Lebanon, have suffered severe blows. That is something I don't agree with. They did not suffer any severe blow. Even the Western media narrative right now is that Iran's defense system is completely destroyed. Destroyed by what? Destroyed by one night attack on Iran? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. When the Western media, so-called analysts, experts, they discuss, oh, Iran is weakened, Iran is weak. They're going to pursue nuclear weapon right now because they're so weak. And we, therefore, should attack Iran. I mean, these are all false flag and lame excuses to attack Iran. One night and you destroy countries completely, like all the air defense system, completely, 100%. Like, are you crazy? I don't know. This is what they're saying. During Monday's meeting, Ahmadiyyan maintained that Iran has, quote-unquote, not changed its nuclear doctrine against pursuing atomic weapons. Last month, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said in an interview with Guardian newspaper that frustration in Tehran over unmet commitments such as lifting sanctions was fueling debate over whether the country should alter its nuclear policy. It should, as I said. There is no reason for Iran not to pursue a nuclear weapon at the moment. That's what I believe. If they can have one, have one. Sanctions will never be lifted, even if you try. Under Donald Trump, forget about it completely. Thank you guys for your comments. See you in the next video.